Hey everybody, we are live at the Roll to Move art auction live stream. We always look at each other. Yeah. Is that right? Is that the right one? You know, it's day 3 of Roll to Move, and that's how we're feeling. Lots of stuff. Yeah. Our minds are racing, awash with all of the events and adventures that have been going on. So it looks like people are starting to mill about and say hi. Programa Con Scratch says hello. Hello. Rogue Trader says hi. Hello. There's a Rogue Trader here. Old school. Looks like Luke Evans said good evening. He's in the UK, so it must be evening time. I mean, it's evening time for us, so it must not be for him.
Late
I don't
evening.
know.
Night even?
I don't know. Luke Evans, what time is it there?
3:45 in Sweden. 8.
Oh, really? Middle of the night kind of thing. All right. Well, so we are simulcast on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. And so hello to all of those audiences. We will be answering questions and comments from across all of those different venues. I see Peter says hi. Had a blast on the Hell Train yesterday. That may be for you, Jason. See Brian says hi. Rob says hi. Tom Coonrat says you don't look high. Just saying. Luke Evans, 2:45 a.m. Wow. All right, you're hardcore, Luke Evans. And Nicholas in Sweden, 3:45 a.m. You're even more hardcore. This explains how you got that chest burster that you showed off at Dice Fest last year. Up late, and they're scurrying around in the ceiling. Bob Clark says hi. Thank you guys for joining us. Programa Con Scratch says, y'all are the greatest of all time on making board games. FR, presumably for reals. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
That is awesome. M. Weaver says, greetings from South Texas, fellas. Well, greetings to you, M. Weaver. Greetings from Greece. We have some people from all over the world. And really, that's what Roll to Move is about. It's us kind of opening up to a wider audience by doing the stuff online and getting to serve our great community around the globe and in the U.S., of course. But, you know, opening it up. Jim Weaver says, greetings. Becky is still trying to catch that plane. Well, the plane is long gone, but Becky will write songs of you. Let's see. He's referring, of course, to the Last Night on Earth mega game that we played yesterday.
I assumed. Yeah.
Billy Birdie, hi from Australia. Really enjoyed the video about the Darkstone magazine. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're having a blast with the Darkstone magazine, and we hope to keep it going. And we're already working on issue 3 right now. Peter says, no one makes theme in all of board games like FFP would be my affirmation. Love it. Thank you, Peter. So I'm ducking around because we have camera equipment and then we have the screen that's showing me the comments. So I'm like reading, I'm leaning around the equipment, but don't mind me. I just look like I'm bobbing and weaving, fighting mysterious shadow opponents. All right, well, so this, let's talk about a history of what this is all about. So a few years ago, I think it was for the second Dice Fest, which would have been 2018, we had an idea where we said, what if we actually sold some of the original art? And this is not something that would be like my first choice because I love our original art. I covet our original art. I don't, each of the pieces is like a part of our Brimstone family, and I don't want to see it leave home. But the thing is, I think that other people really enjoy it as well. And if we could share that with fans of the game, where they could have a piece of Brimstone for themselves on their living room wall, that would be really special. And especially because even though everyone around the globe is playing the game, you know, they're having adventures in Cinder and Tradera and the derelict ship and in the mines and, you know, into the Forbidden Fortress and through the Norse lands, all of that stuff. Sorry, I'm getting a message here. Yeah, we'll in the comments we'll go ahead and post a link to the eBay auction. So while I'm talking about all this, you can check out the eBay auction. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's probably worth saying at the top here that the idea is not that this live stream is a live auction that we're doing stuff. It's more like we're talking about the different pieces and the different artwork that we're putting up for auction. And so you can actually see those auctions live right now. They're going for at least the next few days, I guess. There's different timings on them.
Yeah, they're all set to be. They'll be ending in the next 2 to 3 days.
Okay,
basically.
So people can go and check out the different pieces that are up there. And so for this live stream, we were basically just going to talk about some of the different pieces and why we did the auction and what kind of pieces we have up that are available for people to check out and see and potentially bid on if they're interested.
Yeah. So if I go back to what I was saying, basically the idea is I recognize the fact I am a fan of other things and I love to get a piece of that world. And I've done this in the past. I know how special it is. It means a lot to me. So I thought, even though it's not my first choice to let some of these things go, I think it would be worthwhile because it will make someone else so happy and give them a part of the game. And even though people are around the globe playing the game with all of these cards and everything, there's going to be only one person in the world that has that actual item, like the actual painting for it. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool because it's like you own the item for real, as opposed to just your character getting the item in a game.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool. It works out that way because it's items and then you get the item.
Now, if someone purchases one of these item paintings, does that give them personally the abilities on the item card from the game?
I do not think so, no.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's unfortunate, but I guess.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say, like, if someone purchases this item, what if they just destroy it? And I was gonna go like, what? No, why would they? What? Maybe it's my deep-seated fear because, like I said, these are very precious to me, and thought you were trolling me or something. All right. Anyway, so one of the things we're doing with this live stream is to actually go through and just show each piece of art and talk about it if we have any notes about it or things like that. Now, some of these are art items, like art, illustrations of item paintings. And then some of these things, for the first time ever, we've put together some one-of-a-kind framed, like design pieces, design and development pieces. And we'll get into that. But we're going to start with the item art. This is something that we originally started in Dice Fest 2018. We didn't know if anyone was going to care or what the deal was going to be. So we did, I don't know, 25 of them or something like that. Got them set up. It comes with the card in case you want to frame it with the card or something. It comes with a certificate of authenticity and all this stuff. It's a nice little deal. And they totally sold out. And people really loved it. And so what we started hearing was, you should do this online so I can get one too. Because I don't go to Dice Fest. And our first inclination was, we don't want stuff to get lost in the mail. These are one of a kind items and whatever. So we really held off on it for a long time. But this year for Roll to Move, we were, every year we talk about what can we do that's even, raises the bar, more special, like more and better. And so Jason really suggested we should do it. Like, even though there's the danger element, we don't want things to get lost and that kind of thing, it would be worth it so that it could open it up and other people who don't make it to Dice Fest could actually get a piece of the game for themselves. So we're trying that this year. We're going to see how it goes. I see Brian Bosch says, anything you purchase becomes starting gear. Mm-hmm. Yes. Or what you could do is buy it for a newborn baby and then that is their starting gear. Let's see. So why don't we take a look at some of these pieces? I've put a few of them out on the table here. We'll switch to that shot. And so, these aren't in any particular order, but this auction, this is the first time that we're selling any of the item paintings from Adventures. And so that's very exciting. Up to this point, it's been Other Worlds, it's been Mind stuff, it's been Japan stuff. This is the first time we're doing any Other World stuff. So, the Danula bulb. Good light source. A very wacky painting. It's one of those things where we really had to figure out exactly what a Danula bulb is and what it would look like, and then paint it to make it come to life and feel real.
I especially like the idea that this is an alternate light source, like an alternate lantern, so that you can hold it by the stock and it'll bob as you're walking around.
I like that.
I think that's
too,
very important.
Yeah. And the Danula bulb actually is on the lower cost end of the. There's a range of the starting prices for these, and the Danula bulb is actually starting at $50. So it's definitely on the more affordable end of things. All right, and then
Now, each of these comes with the original illustration, as well as a copy of the card.
Yes.
That's in the game that it's used on, and then also a certificate of authenticity. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And actually, as an example, I grabbed one of the ones from that we had put out at Dice Fest last year that just didn't happen to sell, and so I have it. So this is an example of how it'll come. So these item art pieces do not come framed, but it's in a protective bag. On the flip side, we've got a certificate of authenticity and the original card, and then we're going to ship it, in a stay flat or with protected cardboard and stuff like that, so that it won't get bent. All right, so to look at some of these other ones, like here's the Odin stone, and you can see just how complex and detailed this painting is. So one of the reasons why I grabbed these two is so that you can kind of get an idea of the contrast between these two. So the Danula bulb, there's not a lot of little detail to it. It's fairly straightforward. The Odin stone is very intricate and detailed. And so this is just a more detailed painting. There's more to it. It took longer to paint. It is higher detail and is just, overall a cooler item. So this one, this one is basically a lower starting cost than this one right here. And that's sort of an example of how we, figured on these. Another aspect of it is how big the painting is. So, these are fairly small paintings, but it's a range. And so we're going to see there's some of them like this one right here, where you can see this is over twice the size of these other ones. And so that also changes the starting price. All right, so let's just quickly go through some of these. We have the Danula bulb, we've got the Odin stone. Here is the Seafaring talisman. This one is another Gates of Valhalla one here. Down here, we've got a nice Jargono piece, and that's the, what is it? The Tiki skull charm, the Tito skull charm.
Yeah, Tito skull
the
charm.
The Tito skull charm, like you do. And then Baldur's ring. This is actually one of my favorite pieces that we have in the auction. Looks so good. That and this one right here, the Darkstone skull. I love the way that that Brian painted this to have the kind of like, it's smooth in some areas, and then other areas it's chiseled and faceted. Like you can really feel the raw Darkstone in that. All of these illustrations are painted by Brian Snowdy. They're gouache paint on Bristol board, which is a paper, Strathmore Bristol paper. And let's see, do we have any questions about this? Wayne is here and he says, getting the original of an item you've carried is amazing. My best friend has the old map and I've got the life stone. Time to peruse the wares for this round. All right. Bob Clark says, bobbing suggestively. I guess he means the
Danula bulb.
The Danula bulb. You know, the Danula bulb does the Danula bob as you carry it. All right.
I think Bob Clark might do the Danula bob.
Yeah, I think he might. I think he might. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move these aside, and we'll show some other ones. And meanwhile, why don't we actually pull up eBay for a second, and we can show what these
The
auctions
look like. Yeah.
So to search for these, I mean, we posted the link in the auction here, but and we should definitely post it, make a post on Facebook and social media with the links. Sure. But if you do need to search for it on eBay, you can search for Shadows of Brimstone art, and you'll see it'll come up. And if you find one of these, then you can look at items by, other items by this seller, and it'll show a bunch of them. All right. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, so there's a pretty wide variety of different items from the Earth-based worlds like the Norse lands, artifacts, and the other worlds as well. So finding stuff from the swamps of Jargono or different items from perhaps the Targa Plateau. I'm not sure what all is in there, but I would guess that there probably are some from the Targa Plateau as well. It's kind of cool because, you can kind of look and find things that have special meaning to you from games that you've played or particular pieces of art that strike a chord.
All right, let's see. All right, so if we flip back, we can see some of these that I've put out. Actually, I should move these down a little bit. All right, so we've got the neck ruff here for the Spanish Explorers. This is actually a gear card from Valley of the Serpent Kings. And again, this one is one that's fairly straightforward. And so this is on the lower end of the starting costs. And then we have this Temple Stone Relic. This is an example of one of the larger ones and also just one of the more detailed ones.
Yeah, the Temple Stone Relic has got such a cool texture and color to it.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where when you see the real painting, it is shocking that it is so photorealistic. Brian Snowdy is the best at what he does. And what he does is not pretty. That's the Wolverine quote. Anyway, yeah, he creates jaw-dropping images. And this is one of those where it really, really looks photorealistic. It's just fantastic. And then, of course, here we've got the Templar icon. This one is a really cool one. And the Gemji root. So this one, it's pretty detailed. And when you can actually see all the woven kind of strands and fibers in the roots, it's it doesn't look that appetizing to me. I do think that there's something to be gained by seeing the actual art, because you can see it up so close that it changes how you think of the art. It's pretty crazy. And the Gemji root, I don't think I would want to eat it.
Well, you don't have to eat it. You just lick it. That's the game.
Oh.
You lick the Gemji root.
All right. I guess as long as it works. Maybe I can make some tea from it or something. All right. And then we have some cool Viking stuff. We've got the mead jug. This is another one that's so photorealistic. And this is based on a piece that's actually from a Nordic museum. And so this is, sometimes this blows me away too, that notion that sometimes when our items are based on a historic artifact, it makes me think about the fact that somebody carried this thing, this item, all this time ago, ages ago, and they would never have guessed, that at some point someone would have a painting of it that would appear in a game, and people would be playing a game with their handmade mead jug, that like some Viking that made this. Like, it's crazy. It's not exact, but closely based on it, to where it gets your imagination going. All right, I'm going to move these out and show some other ones. So, Jason, do you have any notes on any of these items? Like, what stands out to you, like, if you were to get one of these that we've been talking about?
The Templestone Relic is definitely amazing. But, they're all pretty cool. I do really like the licking the Gemji root. So, the idea that you would have, be able to get the piece of art for the Gemji root would be pretty fun. Yeah.
Loquitur Gaming says, I think there's 2 auctions for the same item, and we checked it and we fixed it. So thanks for letting us know. Luke Evans says, the consistency of the artwork is so satisfying, given the years between each piece. Has there ever been a piece you've had an idea for where the art is exactly how you imagined it? Well, I would say nearly all of these, the art is exactly how I imagined it because of the way that we work. So I think it's not a standard practice that anybody else uses. Normally, I think people would just say like, all right, here's a list, hand it to an artist, and then that artist like figures out what they want and does it. And then the art director would make changes, they'd go back and forth, stuff like that. But our pipeline for this is basically that I find and set up like exactly what I want, and then Brian paints it. And so that means that in the past we've done a lot of like photo shoots of physical objects. So several of the items in the game are real physical objects that I have in the other room. And basically like the whiskey bottles, say, or the bandages, things like that, or several of the different pistols. And so I will do a photo shoot where I get out that item, I set it up the way I want it, I set up the lighting, I do everything for like a photo shoot, take the pictures, and then give it to Brian, and then he does a photorealistic painting of the photo. And then other ones where it's not something that we could have for real, where say it's like a technical device from the Targa Plateau. That one I will, design out the pieces, like create the whole thing and set it up exactly how I want it to look. And then Brian goes through and paints over it and makes it all consistent and real and tangible. And so those things, photo source and concepted art, have the same treatment done over them, and so you get that consistency. But because of this, it also means that very seldom does he finish a piece of artwork and I'm like, oh, that's not what I was picturing. It's like, no, it's exactly what I was picturing. I think there might be 1 or 2 where once it was finally done, it's like, I don't know, it didn't quite turn out as I thought it would, and we'll go a different way with it. There was one piece that I can think of. It was in the original Shadows of Brimstone, and I can't remember. We ended up redoing it. It was like gloves. It was like for Jargono. Do you remember this? It was like some kind of reptile skin glove armor or something like that. Yeah. We didn't really like, it looked a little too weird. And we just ended up like doing a new painting,
another version
of it. New version of it. But like honestly, that's how few times like I can think and count on one hand the examples like that. All right, let's put out some other ones here. That's really bright. I'm not sure it's gonna see it okay. Oh, this one's really cool. Glow fungus. Glyph of Sunta. And here's the Hellbear Claw. Oh, this is a really cool one. The Feathered Shield. Serpent Man Shield. All right. So, is this camera on right here?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we have the Runic Ring. And actually, this one's cool because it is a personal item. There's a few of these that are in the auction that are actually personal items. And I feel like those are even more interesting because they're, you know, they're the ones that like you can't sell. They stay with your character forever. And there's not that many of them. So it feels like those are a little bit more valuable or something, you know. Glow Fungus, which is great from the great artifact from the Jargono there. And this one, look at the colors. Really looks like it's glowing. Here is the Hellbear Claw. This one right here, this is another one. It's not that large a painting, but the detail on it is unbelievable, and it is so photorealistic. You look like, it feels like you could just reach out and touch the surface of it, and you know exactly what it would feel like. Because Brian is amazing at what he does. And then this right here, the Feathered Shield. So this is very cool. It's actually one of the Serpentman shields. And I think, how many of those have we done? Maybe 2, 3, something like that? Different versions of the Serpentman shield?
There's been a couple of them.
I don't think we've ever sold one before. Yeah, some of these, it's like, it hurts to let them go. But I'm sure it'll find a good home, and someone will be very excited to get it. All right. So while I'm loading up new ones, do you want to talk about any of these things? Like anecdotes about it, you know what I mean? So just to be clear, it's not just buying time or something like that. If you tell a story where you're like, you know, I had this idea for the glow fungus and blah, blah, blah. You know, you say the story and then someone at home is like, I can buy that glow fungus piece of art. And now I also have the story from Jason about like how he came up with it. Do you know what I mean? So it's genuine. I think it's worthwhile for you to talk about this if you do have any.
Sure.
Any
well,
things.
I mean, there's information about that about almost everything.
I know.
So the glow fungus.
Yeah.
The glow fungus is pretty cool. It's inspired by all the different bioluminescent fungi that and plants that actually exist out in the real world. But I wanted it to be something that was a little bit more alien because it grows in the swamps of Jargono, and so we wanted it to be like a bioluminescent, you know, reds and yellows and feeling almost dangerous, like it's dangerous bioluminescent fungus. Because most things in Jargono most of the plants as well as the animals and insects have an element of danger to them. So making it those kind of fiery colors makes it feel more scary, more dangerous.
I've put a few new ones out here. These are all clothing items. So we actually have, so if you have any stories about these are the wrapped leggings, the Cape of Exploration, and the Spanish Cape.
Yeah, one of the things that's kind of fun with the Spanish explorers is getting to do all of the different types of capes and cloaks and hoods and basically all of the more fancy clothing items, which is pretty cool. One thing I'll say about the wrapped leggings is that there was some feedback that we got early on with Shadows of Brimstone that we had all of these cool clothing items, but there were almost no pants for things to go in the pants slots, because every every character can have a clothing item, one clothing item for each slot, clothing slot that you have. So a belt or a coat or a pants or a hat. And so people were saying, I love gathering, trying to get one of each clothing for my character, but there's almost no pants. And so taking that feedback to heart, we made way more pants in the Brimstone Adventure sets. So there's a lot of different pantaloons and Viking pants, Spanish exploring pants, Viking pants, all sorts of crazy pants that you can get, as well as new additional clothing items like cloaks and capes and jackets and hats. But we really emphasized the pants.
I'm putting some other ones out here. We probably should speed this up because we have a lot of stuff to get through and there's not that much time.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. So,
All right, so some of these new ones here. This one right here, honestly, I will tell you, I almost didn't put it in because I didn't want to sell it.
which one is it?
I want to keep it. It's the temple ritual dagger. It's so cool, and it's something that I designed to kind of put together several different aspects of real world ritual daggers, but there isn't one that looks like this. It's kind of things I liked about several of them put together and then painted by Brian to make it look real.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the magical dagger from The Shadow, the movie The Shadow with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I can
where
see that.
It's got the face on the hilt of the dagger that comes to life and actually can bite the hand of whoever's wielding it.
Right.
It just kind of reminds me of that a bit.
I did see, if we scroll up just slightly, someone asked, Peter says, so all the item cards are painted by the same guy. So in actual fact, all the item cards across all the games are painted by either me or Brian. So far, anyway. And I do mine digitally, and so there isn't a physical painting. And so all the ones that are paintings of items that we could sell are Brian paintings, Brian Snowdy. All right. Okay, and then we've got like a wolf pelt. Let's see. Luke says, if the monkey can wear armor, does this mean the dog can wear trousers?
So currently the dog can't wear trousers. It can't wear pant slot clothing items. But I will say that one of the items in one of the Wave 3 supplements, card supplements, actually does have dog armor as one of the items you can get. So that's dog armor that you can get for dog allies and the dogs that you can have in camp.
This one right here, I think this one might be my favorite in this auction. It's the Axe of Tanuk. And the details on it, like the dark stone, all of it, it's just unbelievable. It's fantastic. I love it. Again, I almost didn't put it in because I didn't want to part with it, but I'm hoping that it'll make somebody happy. That will make it all worthwhile. So I'll just push this down enough to get it under our little inset picture. Look at this. It's the Mikdo root.
The Mikdo root.
This is so real looking, but it is so alien.
Makes you want to take a bite out of it, doesn't it?
You know, the thing is, the painting is so tangible. Mary Beth says they make snow pants for dogs, so where's my dog pants? All right. Anyway, it looks so photorealistic. I feel like I know what it would be like. Like I know how crisp this would be if I bit into it, you know? And that's the cool thing about the item paintings. We knew early on we wanted to have a painting for every single item so that you really get an idea of what it is, not just a description, but actually a picture. All right, Jason, do you have anything to tell them about the Axe of Tanuk?
The Axe of Tanuk. Well, I mean, it's one of the Jargono artifacts.
It gives you +1 combat. I just mean, I don't know. And we've got a certain idea for it or anything like that. Any anecdotes come to mind?
I always like to make Jargono artifacts that feel very much like they are in reverence to the different Serpentmen gods, or in some cases to the Jargono tribal native peoples' deities that they have. Right. So having a lot of those helps build the different mythology and world of Jargono and the cultures that live there.
Nice. We also have the Croxon plate armor.
It's made with 100% real
Croxon?
Yeah.
Yes. No artificial Croxon. All right. And we have the Grendel cloak here, too. Grendel cloak.
Yeah, the Grendel cloak, if I'm not mistaken, the Grendel cloak is the one that actually lets you turn invisible when you wear it, inspired by, I should say, Beowulf and the demon Grendel, which is kind of the villain of that saga.
All right, these are the last three that we have in the auction. I'll put this a little bit lower so people can see it there. So we've got the blood pot. And I don't know that you can see. I was looking at the original painting here. I love this painting. It's so detailed, even though it's a small little item on there. I don't know that you can tell on the card, but you can see it in the painting that the blood pot actually has like blood. It's filled to the brim with blood. Super gross.
Yeah.
Super gross.
Well, it's a blood pot.
Blood pot.
Otherwise, it would just be a pot.
This is another one that I almost did not let go because it's the Hex Grim mask. And it is so cool. I love how it turned out. I love the look of it. I love the design of it. I love the rendering of it. Like, I might bid on it. We'll see. We'll see. And then the last thing here, we've got the Cape of Freya. And that one also looks really good. So, all right. So let's talk about the other things that we have besides item paintings. Item paintings are something that we've done in the past. Everything from this point on is stuff we've never done. Never done before. And this is something that Jason originally suggested.
It's true.
So
when we do, when I do a lot of the design work for the different games for the last, I don't know, 30 years or whatever, there's always a process of going through doing the design of the different pieces, the different game elements, and the prototyping, the original and initial prototyping for any of the different games or any of the different worlds that you visit or the way characters work, fundamentally how the map tiles work or look, or how the villains in Fortune and Glory are gonna work, like what their cards are going to be like, what information is going to be on there, and what those stats are going to be like. And so it goes through several different iterations, but I'm kind of old school with it. So frequently I like to do a lot of sketches for the different cards or the different, what the layout might look like of a card type or a new, something new for a game or a new game in general. And so I thought it would be kind of cool to be able to share with people, if they were interested, some of those original prototype, like design prototype pieces that are kind of a one-of-a-kind element of creating the games.
right?
And so, for instance, we have one right here that is
lot of glare
a
there.
framed piece. There's a lot of glare on it, so I'll lean it forward a little bit so there's less glare.
Okay.
So this is an example of one that is specifically from Brimstone Adventures. It's from Valley of the Serpent Kings, and it has the original hand-drawn prototype map tile for one of the Spanish fort map tile pieces.
Smashed wall.
The smashed wall. And so with this one, these map tile pieces that are hand-drawn are basically, the shapes. This is how we develop the shapes and then do the sketch for what types of artwork might appear on that map tile, as well as what the different exits or entrances to the tile are like. And these are the pieces that define what the map tiles are going to look like. And usually these are the pieces that we play test on for many, many games and many, many kind of sessions and campaigns developing that particular project. So this particular tile here is not just any copy of the smashed wall. This is basically the prototype playtest smash wall that we used for the entire development cycle up until we got the final artwork for the piece. So it has a lot of history built into it. This map tile has seen countless villains and minions cut down, and also countless Spanish explorers and other heroes attacked and bloodied by the enemies, through all of the playtest and all of the iterations of the design process. So we thought it'd be kind of cool to have some of these available where we have that original map tile piece that we played on all the playtests and to kind of design what the layout would be like, and then have it mounted and framed with a copy of the final map card and of the final version of the map tile as it was released in the product. In this case, Valley of the Serpent Kings.
And just to be clear, the sketch was done by Jason. So
Yeah.
when he designed it, he literally got out a pen and was like, I want the walls to be here. I want the steps to be here. I would like the wall to be smashed through at this point. There should be rubble here. And he did this original sketch for it. Then we cut it out and we have played on this piece for hundreds of hours of playtesting. So it's very crazy. There's just one of each of these pieces for the different map tiles that are in the game. And so very unique. It's one of those if these walls could talk kind of thing. Like if this piece could talk, like all of those, not just games played on it, but changing the decisions that were made about
Where the walls are placed or
Right.
how the spaces are counted out, and all the design elements that go into creating the map tiles and the board for the game, really.
Now, the other thing is this will come with a certificate of authenticity that's signed by me because all the art ones are. But I would dare say we could probably get Jason to sign this if whoever buys this would want it signed,
Sure.
right? And in fact, there's a space for it. This black area, It feels like you could sign that like with a silver pen or something like that. It might look really nice.
Yeah.
Of course, we're already advertising it on the auction without showing that. So I would say if you buy a piece like this and you want Jason to sign it, let us know, and we can make that happen. And you could also say sign it on the back, or sign it with silver pen on the black area, or sign it along the bottom in black pen on white or something like that.
All right.
If you have any instructions.
Starting to
All
run
right.
up against the time.
Why don't we grab the next piece and we'll show it. We have a handful of these map tiles pieces. Why don't we show those?
Sure. So here's another one.
All
So
right,
that
go
one
ahead.
was the smashed wall.
Slide it up and I'll take this one out.
So this one here is, actually, which one did I grab? I grabbed the river crossing from the Norselands. So this is actually one of my favorite map tile artworks. I think it turned out just really cool, where it's basically the river crossing where the Vikings can, or whoever is exploring the Norselands for that matter, can basically come across a flowing river and try to ford the river through the icy waters. And so, I just really love the way that the artwork on this one turned out. And I was really excited to get, those exterior kind of ice cold northern environments into the map tiles, to actually have more exterior stuff, because so many of the map tiles we've done before have these kind of claustrophobic internal workings of mine shafts and cinder tunnels and all of that. So being able to do more things like the Norselands, where you can expand it out and suddenly you're in a snowy forest and have, rivers and mountains and icy crags,
You want to get the next one?
is exciting.
So I see here, Bob Clark says that it's loaded with adventurer's karma.
Indeed. All right. So the next one we have I grabbed is a rampart. So this is one of the ones which I think is one of the coolest map tiles from the Spanish fort from the Valley of the Serpent Kings. And it basically is the rampart wall, where you have a big kind of Spanish flag fluttering in the wind, and you've got a bunch of supplies with barrels and crates. And then you can see over the wall down into the jungle canopy where the trees are growing up against the fort wall. And it also has one of the big defensive cannon positions that the Spanish fort could use to defend against Superman attacks or whatnot. And so, again, this one it was a really cool piece to work on, where it has these kind of up and down verticality of a wall, a corner wall of the castle kind of fortress. And, there's a barrier, so enemies can actually start down in the trees and come up over the wall, and heroes can run along the walls to find the different exits into the other rooms nearby. But I just really love the way the colors turned out with the lush green and the kind of sandblasted Spanish fort stone.
And mounted on dark stone purple background.
Yeah, that's true. Dark stone purple.
All right. Go ahead and grab the next thing. Should we show some of the small ones?
Sure. Let's do it. All right.
All right. These next ones are really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, so these are some from the original Shadows of Brimstone core sets. And so these are original card design sketches. And so this is 2 different cards from the Swamps of Jargono. It's the Tribal Necklace and the Darkstone Blade, 2 different Jargono artifacts. And so I'm not sure how well you can see on the screen there, but basically these are the original hand-sketched cards and handwritten text for the cards that were put into card sleeves that were the original design and playtest cards for the original core sets before Shadows of Brimstone was even released. Mm-hmm. So we played with these for a really long time as the different artifacts that you could find. And they have sketches of what the item should look like, as well as the original text of what the items do and the different aspects of it, like the anvils or the gold values, things like that. And on a lot of these, where we have the original design prototypes for the cards, they also have things that are scratched out in pen and have notes on them where it changes what the cards do or how, what the different values on the cards are. So you can kind of see that there's a little bit of the progression of design work that has gone into these particular cards over many, many games, and different heroes having them and how they would combine with each other with different hero abilities, and how that needed to change the various aspects of the different cards. So this one is a Swamps of Jargono themed one. We also have a Targa Plateau themed one with void crystals and the frozen isopod.
Frozen Isopod's one of my favorites.
And so again, this has the original design prototype cards there with the sketches of what the item might look like, as well as the text of what the different items do and the different stats of those items. And you can see it looks like the Frozen Isopod actually does have some stuff scratched out and changed as we did various playtesting over the months and years leading up to doing the official production and manufacturing of the original core sets. So these are both from the original City of the Ancients and the original prototype design work of Shadows of Brimstone.
Yeah.
All right, and then the third one that we have here is...
We only have 3 of these, right?
Yeah, there's only 3 of these. The third one that we have here is actually mine artifacts, and it's the Horrific Statue and the Judge. And so these are 2 really cool mine artifacts. And so it has, again, the original design prototypes, handwritten, hand-drawn for the sketches of what the item might look like, and handwritten for what the abilities of the item are. And so that's, all of these are mounted and framed with the 2 design prototype cards, and then the final versions as they were released in the original Shadows of Brimstone core sets.
All right. And then we have one that's a little different. It's not a card, but it's a sketch.
Yeah, this is a Gates of Valhalla item. It's a Targa Plateau artifact. That's the index uplink. And this isn't the... Sorry, this is just twisting all over the place. So this one isn't the original design prototype sketch, but rather an original concept sketch for what this design or what this item might look like. the index uplink target.
Yeah, this is one of the cases where Brian actually designed out the look of this thing, as opposed to me putting something together as a concept or doing a photo shoot or finding reference or something like that. Obviously, it's Targa, so there's no photo you can take of it. But I think that this is something where we were together in the same room and going like, something like this. Yeah, it could have this, and it probably should have, have this type of shape, and let's add some, energy kind of lines, areas where that comes in. And so worked it out as a sketch, and then he had that sketch sitting right beside him as he did the painting. And so the paint that you see there is actually it's just a throwaway sketch. So, he's actually using it like to wipe his paintbrush on and everything, which is only meant to be just like an aside. But later on, when I saw it, I was like, that's really cool. It's really cool that it has his paint on there and everything. It actually makes it feel really
visceral.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I grabbed it up rather than just tossing it, and kept it for a day like this where we could actually share it with somebody else. And we have a few different ones like this that it's just things where we thought somebody would probably enjoy this.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think we have two more
we just have
pieces
two others
to show.
left, and these I think are really cool. Jason had this idea, and he put it together, and it's so cool. I almost feel like we should have kept it.
So there's two of these. They're for Fortune and Glory, the cliffhanger game, and they're basically the design progression, the initial design and design progression for how the villains work in Fortune and Glory. And so it has the original kind of triptych sketch of the three Nazi villains from Fortune and Glory, from the base game, the original base game of Fortune and Glory. And so it has the original sketches of who those characters are, coming up with names for them for the first time, and the different stats and what a villain card might look like, what kind of stats the villain cards would have. And then that was the original top row there. Then the center row is
those are the actual playtest
basically
cards.
The actual playtest cards
With stand-in art.
Before we had real art, before we had real layouts and whatnot. And so it basically is the progression from original idea to stand-in, prototype playtest prototypes, where we started getting some of the photographs done, but we didn't have all of them yet. And then the final row is the final versions of the cards as they were released in the original Fortune and Glory base game back in 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this basically just shows the design process, kind of going from initial rough sketches and coming up with the different characters and what they might do, to the playtest versions, all the way through down to the final released versions of the characters. So it's kind of showing behind the curtain of the design process that goes into making characters like this and elements of a board game like Fortune and Glory.
I think the craziest part is I had never seen all these things at the same time. Like there was a time where you had sketched those out. I referenced those sketches when we were, casting for the different parts. And then once we did some of the photo shoots or found stand-in art of like, we want something like this, then we put those onto cards even before we had the finished layout. And those became playtest cards. And so, I saw these in development, the top ones. The second row, we just played for a long time with these.
Years, in fact.
And then the final layout and everything, and this is how it finally turned out. And I've never actually just seen them laid out like this. It's really cool. And there's only these three for the mob, or sorry, these three for the Nazis, and then we have three more for the mob, and then that's it. And so, yeah, I mean, this is why I'm saying it's like having these laid out like this, it's like, man, maybe that should just be like on the wall, in the studio. But
and so the other one here is for
sharing them with fans.
It's for the Chicago mob, so it's also from the original Fortune and Glory design process and main game from 2011. And so these, it's interesting because there's actually a number of years that's gone between these different things. So the top, the top piece that's like the original kind of idea of the layout and sketching it up, that actually is from years before it actually went into development and manufacturing. And then it went through a process of putting together the prototype ones that we would play with for a long time. And then to the final 2011 release versions of the original Fortune and Glory base game.
Yeah, it's Frog
Because
history.
The
It's a piece of
entire
Frog
entire
history.
design process of Fortune and Glory, we were playtesting it for probably about 8 years. Yeah, probably about 8 years. And so before it went into development and actually got manufactured and released. And so there's just a lot of history there. All right.
All right, well, that is our overview. I see somebody has already bid on the Norse ancient sword. That's pretty cool. That's a really good one.
Nice.
The item paintings and stuff. We set this up mostly to go over the course of Roll to Move. And so I believe all these are ending on Monday or Tuesday. I mean, you can see different ones end at different times. But most of them are about 2 days and change between now and when they end. And so if you guys are interested, grab a piece of Frog history and put it on your wall. And thank you so much for joining us for this live stream. We hope everybody's enjoying all the festivities and the games and everything at Roll to Move
2025.
2025. Tomorrow we still have a lot of really fun stuff going on, different games. The painting contest actually closed, I guess. You know what? I haven't gotten to look at it yet. So if anybody wants to sneak in under the wire, you can still go right now and enter the painting contest if you forgot. But yeah, we're going to be judging the painting contest and announcing the winners tomorrow. Also, we're doing our Zoom Hangout. That one is not just live streamed, it's a Zoom thing. So you need to actually sign up for it, like get a ticket for the event, and then we'll send you the Zoom code. And so you can do that on tabletop.events. All right. So it looks like there's a few comments here. I've ordered the magazine and a couple of things. If I bought an artwork or two, would it be possible to ship all together? Yeah, I think we can do that. Just when you make the order, put a note in there. Or you could send an email if you've already finished the order.
Yeah.
Send an email and let us know. And let's see, Bob Clark says, thanks, have a great Roll to Move, everybody. Wayne says, I haven't wiped a group yet, not for lack of trying on their behalf. Yes. You're not supposed to do that, All right. Well, thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of Roll to Move. We will see you guys tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.